I'll use a waveform chart for this purpose. I'm going to use so we'll take a random number generator. Okay, it's available in numeric. I'm just going to use a random number generator and I'm just connecting it to a waveform chart. Fine. Now to make it run infinite, we'll use a while loop. I'm going to give a control. Fine. Now this is a simple one which is going to generate random numbers. It's run for all time. Okay, now what you're going to do is that I want to display this number. Okay, I want to display this number. So what I'll do is that I'll use a numeric indicator. I'm just placing a numeric indicator so that I'll just rename it as output. So this is the rename indicator. Okay, so I want to display that particular number. Okay, we're going to do something very interesting. First I'll place this particular thing here itself. I'm just going to connect the output of the random number to this output. Now we'll be able to see very fastly the different numbers are getting generated. Let me slow down the process. So I'll just give a small delay so that it appears slowly. I'm going to just give a delay. We'll add a delay like say we'll give so 100 millisecond. Okay, so I'm just giving 100 millisecond. Now if you run it, it is going to run every 100 millisecond, so you can see the data. Okay, now we'll see an interesting thing. I'm just going to put this guy outside the loop. Okay, now you see whenever I take this particular numeric indicator outside, it formed a square kind of thing. So this is called as a tunnel. If I just move it over the mouse, you can see it is a loop tunnel. Okay, so we'll see what happens now. Okay, so if I run, it will be the values are getting generated, but it does not getting updated here. You can see it doesn't get updated here. So very interesting thing happens. Once I stop it, it gets updated. What it means, actually this is a loop. We are taking the data outside the loop. Okay, it is not instantaneous data. Rather, what happens is that if you actually what it will do is the loop will run. After the loop is over, the last data, whatever be the last data that came from this random number, that alone will come out, because at the time only it will comes out of the loop. Okay, so the last data alone is displayed here. Okay, I'll just run it again. So all these data are generated here. Once I stop the loop, whatever the last data that is generated, that alone goes to the output. Okay, but I want all the values to be coming out. Okay, so how can I do it? So what I can do is that here, if you see this loop tunnel, I can just right click. I have an option here, tunnel mode as indexing. Okay, it is the last value it is indicating. If I put indexing, okay, so now what it does is that it's something kind of a pointer. You see the name updation, it is called as an auto index tunnel. Okay, what I mean by auto index tunnel is whenever the first value comes in, it has an inherent pointer, so it will point to the first data, so second data, third data. So whatever that is coming out of this while loop is going to be an array of data, not a single data. Okay, it's going to be an array of data. So let me validate my point here. If you just see this cross mark, I'm just moving the cursor over the cross mark. You can see the type of the source is a 1D array, whereas the type of the single is a single value. So only it is not able to match. The whatever is coming out of this loop is going to be an array of data, rather than this is a single data. So it will not be working out. So what I need to do is that I'll delete it, remove all the broken wires, okay, by using the shortcut Control B. Now what we'll do is that at this point I can just give a create indicator, so it will automatically create an array. Okay, so we'll see this. So but this is a while loop. We cannot know which is the first data, which is the last data. Let me replace this with a for loop. Okay, so when it is a for loop, I don't require this condition. Okay, So for loop is repeating a particular loop for n number of times. Okay, or else we can make our while loop itself to work as a for loop. Let's see how can we do that. I'll just go to read. I'll just remove this stop button. Okay, I'll remove this broken wire. So here you can see this value of I. This value of I gets updated. What I'll do is that I'll use a comparison operator. So we'll use a comparison operator. So when it is greater than, okay, so when this value of I is greater than whatever the iteration value, okay, I'll just put it as say 10. So it has to run 10 times. So when it is greater than 10, I'm saying to stop the loop. Okay, so this is how you convert your while loop into a for loop. Okay, now we'll see what happens. I'm going to extend this for 10 data. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, now we'll just run the loop. So it takes a time. Okay, so what's the problem? Okay, we'll see, just a minute. So it is not getting updated. So 10 data, so it has to collect all the 10 datas. Okay, so for the time being I'll just cut off this one. It's not a problem, but we'll see. Still it doesn't solve the problem. Okay, so what could be the problem? We'll see. Just so I'll just we can no. So this is probably, it is getting updated and it doesn't save this data. Okay, so let me identify what's the problem. So we have the first data coming in. Okay, all the data I is okay, 10 is greater than I. See the condition, it's wrong. The condition is wrong. Okay, so I have put it as 10 is greater than I. That's why it didn't run. So what we'll do is that I have to take lesser than, or I have to reverse the operation. Okay, so if the value, I have to actually reverse the operation. So what we'll do is that, so we'll remove this 10 from here and this I from here. I'm just going to give it to I. If I is greater than 10, okay, then I'm going to run this loop. Okay, so now if you just make it, I'll have to remove this stop while it. Okay, you can see 10 beautiful data is getting generated. Fine. Can you able to understand what is the mistake I made? I have given the condition is 10 is all when the first data comes itself, your 10 is always greater than I. So that's why it recorded only one data, only the first data. Now since we have reversed it, it goes for 10 data. So what you get is an array of data. What you get is an array of data. This is how you generate arrays in LabVIEW. This is how one thing that you want to understand here is, whenever you take data out of a loop, it's going to be an array of data. So what is the other way to generate an array? We'll see what is the other way to generate an array. What you can do is that you can just go into your front panel and here you expand it. Okay, so we need to identify this part array. You have something called as an array shell. Choose the array shell. So array shell is like an empty thing. It doesn't define what is the kind of array. You can see from the color itself, it is black in color. So I'll drop a numeric control into that array. It will be a numeric array. So I can drag it either this way or I can drag it this way. So it can be either a row array or a column array. Okay, you cannot do it the other way around. Okay, suppose you want to do it as a 2D array. Here you have to go and do an option like add dimension. You'll be having an option called add dimension. So that add dimension, now you can generate arrays like this. So you can a 2D array. Okay, you're actually generating a 2D array. That's possible. Okay, this is for added dimension. I'll just remove the dimension. Now it is either a row array or a column array. Fine. And one more thing we can do, I'll just go back, and in this array shell I'll just add thing like an LED. So now it is an array of LEDs. Okay, it will be an array of LEDs. So once you have an array, what is the advantage you have? So you can do a variety of array operations. See some of the array options that we have in LabVIEW. Finding the size of an array, indexing an array. So we'll do an indexing an array. Okay, so first we'll get an input array as our I'll just change it to control. Okay, so I'm just changing it to control. Now it accepts input. Okay, it accepts input. So I'm just going to give like this inputs. This is an input. Fine. So instead of an okay, I'll change. I'll just have it as numeric better. So I'll just have it as a numeric array. I'm going to make it as an array. Okay, so to make it as an array, what we have to do, so first go into the array, have array shell, drop in a numeric control into it, so it becomes an array. So I will say we'll have an array of 6 data. Okay, so what I need to do is that, so for this array you have to you have to see this help file. To see the help file, you can just launch control H, which is a context help. You can see, so you have to give the actual array as the input, and we have to give the index of the array, which index you want to pick out. Okay, so I'll just give, say, create a constant, so 0. Okay, it just picks out the 0th element from the array. I'll just give an indicator, so it just picks out that particular element. Okay, for example, I'll just give 3 10, then we have 12, I'll have 15, this will be some -4, this will be some 100. Okay, some data I have just given, so it picks out the 0th element. I'll just update this one to 4, so 4th is going to be -4th element. So the indication is 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, 0 to 5. Fine, that's how this index array works. So apart from that, you have a variety of other functions which we can test. Insert into array, delete from array, initialize array, build array. That's yet another interesting function. You can give individual elements and you can build it as an array. Okay, so you can convert individual element into an array. Suppose you have 10 elements. Okay, I can just expand it. I can connect 10 elements and make it as an array. That's possible. Okay, and a variety of other operations we can do. A sorting array, sort 2D array, like this. All these functions, all these are connected with